Hello, Dragon Crafters, and welcome to another video. This time, we'll be starting a new series, which it's only going to be updated after I finish a game on stream. I'm streaming on Twitch, in case you didn't know, and I've just started. It's really fun for me. I really enjoy streaming. It's extremely fun, and it's very beneficial for me to just, be doing that kind of stuff. It's really fun. So anyway. This series is more about my feelings right after finishing the game. So it's not a review so much. I guess it can be counted as one because we'll be talking about the game we just played. But in general, we'll be talking about the game we just played, what my thoughts were about it, and what was the best things that happened to me during on the stream, my experiences while playing this specific game. So the game we've just finished, literally just finished by the way, by the time of this recording, was Dark Souls 3. Okay, so I have played like Dark Souls. I have played Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, kinda halfway through. I have played Bloodborne, I have played Sekiro, so I'm pretty much very familiar with From Software games. I love them. I love how the beautiful mind of the beautiful brain of Miyazaki, how it works, how it does so many different things. I just love it, And I had a blast playing Dark Souls 3. Like, everyone was saying that like Dark Souls 3 is literally the pinnacle of the Souls game. Like, many consider that to be the greatest game ever from Software. And I get the appeal. In combat-wise, I believe Dark Souls 3 is the best game out of all. It has one of the most interesting pair of bosses that I've seen in any Souls game. I haven't done all the DLC bosses, so I don't really know. But any boss from Dark Souls 3 was enjoyable. Like, only a couple, like the Crystal Sage was like, meh, okay, whatever. The Deacons were like, yeah, sure, like, not a big deal. They were just bosses just to be killed, really. That's how I felt about them. But there were some really banger bosses, like the Dancer. Was a really it's also a fan favorite. I did not know that. Like, people love the Dancer. Personally, I liked more Champion Grintier, whatever the fuck the name is. I cannot pronounce it right. I liked the Soul of Cinders. I really enjoyed that boss. I liked the Lorien Prince, like the pair of that. That was a really interesting boss for me. All in all, it took me 162 deaths to clear the game. It's all on stream. That's how I also updated on my YouTube channel for the VOD, which is basically dedicated for that. I don't expect you guys to watch that if you don't want to, but it's basically the whole journey, just so there. Like, there is not proof, but there's there if you actually want to go watch it, rewatch it at some point. It's always there. We have some of the best moments there as well. This channel I'm gonna be updating with the best moments, basically. But yeah, it's really fun. It's really fun. If you want to go there and watch it. So, before we go on with the nitty-gritty things, I just want to start from the very beginning, like how I started my journey. So we don't start rambling too much. I don't want to be a rambling video. Basically, Dark Souls 3 started. I have started Dark Souls 3 a couple of times, but I've never went past the first boss because, like, okay, I'm gonna try this out another time. I was busy. I'm doing another thing, so I was waiting for that. Dark Souls 3 started off with a bang for me. Like, after I went through the first phase, after you link the file links, right, put a cold sword in, the first boss was whatever to me. Even the first time I did it was like, whatever, it's not a difficult boss. If you know how to play Dark Souls, any Dark Souls game, easy enough. The first couple of areas were interesting, but nothing that made me, wow, this is extremely good, nothing was making me that wow factor, because after playing Dark Souls, and especially Bloodborne, which I believe to this day, Bloodborne is the best thematically for me, because I love Lovecraftian and like that kind of style, Victorian style of visuals, basically. I believe that Dark Souls 3 was lacking in the first couple of areas. Not that that was bad in any way. It was really good. It made the job done. But to me, thematically, Bloodborne worked so much better, especially the first couple of areas. Even Dark Souls 1 was better in my opinion. thematically at least, when you start off the game. However, once you start going on further and further down the line, the areas keep changing. There's some dramatic changes as well, and it was really good. I believe that Dark Souls 1 has the best world connectivity, like how the world interacts with itself. Like, that was amazing. However, Dark Souls 3 took it kind of a different turn, if you could say that, and it made sense as you went on. Like, the areas were making sense as you were going through that journey to kill the Ascent Lords, collect the cinders, whatever, and go on with your journey. It made sense the more you went on. If we start counting, like, my favorite areas has to be the icy areas. I can't remember their names right now. But when we're going to that snow and snowy fields, I was just in awe watching that beautiful environment right in front of me. Like, that was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Which reminds me, I have yet to do the DLC I already have, which is Ashes of Ariandel, which I'm really looking forward to, because I believe Ariandel to be one of my favorite storylines in Dark Souls lore in general. Moving on, let's talk about the bosses for a bit, because there's no Dark Souls if we don't talk about the bosses themselves, right? Like, okay, I'm not gonna put them in any direct order, because you can pretty much change the course of how you do certain bosses. But, okay, first boss was like whatever, like I said before. The Greatwood took me a couple of tries, but it wasn't an overall difficult boss. It was more about finding out that you have to focus on those weak points, and it was really hard to not be able to do what I want to do. Then we had what was the next boss after the Greatwood? I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, let's just keep going and see how it goes. Like, Bordeaux, that one boss, that was really amazing. I used a summon for it. I only wanted to use the summons because I never summon not players or phantoms, whatever they're called, because I want to experience the boss for the first time on my own. Like, after I'm done with it, I know I can kill it, I know the tactics, I don't really care, I will just summon everyone, I don't care. However, because I was streaming, I thought it would be more fun if we could create a few moments with those phantoms. It did work. It did work as intended. Like, I got a couple of clips that I'm really proud of, so people will have more fun. Because when I'm streaming, I'm always thinking of how to make things entertaining, not necessarily easier or harder for me. That's my goal. If it makes it harder, good. If it makes it easier, that's also good. I don't care. What I care about is people having fun while watching my streams. So going from there, we had like a couple of interesting bosses, but not so name-worthy for me. But again, like, there were some bosses like the Deacons, like, whatever. This is not a good boss whatsoever. Actually, if you give me 1 second, I will just put up the entire list right now, so I can. I should actually have done that before I started this, but whatever. This is how we do things. Okay, so Ludic's Reindeer is the first boss, no big deal. Void of the Boreal Valley, like I said, that was the one we used as fandom, was really fun. Crystal Sage, whatever. Abyss Waters, now this is where things got a bit interesting for me. I did not know there was two phases. I was using, though, a summon, a phantom, so the phase 1 was just instantly went out of the blue without any problem, without a hit. I would have wanted to be more challenging. However, I made it so much easier for myself. Phase 2 was really strong, but I did one-shot the boss, so it was really fun. Deacons of the Deep, again, a boss like whatever, I don't know, just kill it. It's no big deal. High Lord Wolfnir now. That was an interesting boss. I liked the way it worked. I liked how it was different, how it was interesting, how it made you think a different way. Obviously, you could see the rings on him. So you were like, yeah, okay, I know what I'm supposed to be hitting. So it literally took me one try, like first shot, one shot, and we were done. It was really, really cool. Pontiff now was another boss I made it so much easier for myself, because I used two phantoms basically. And I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe there was also a player or two players there, and they made it so much more easy for me. I did not expect it. Like, I had no problem whatsoever. This is one of the bosses that I want to redo at later playthrough while playing solo, just to experience it, especially New Game Plus. I believe Dark Souls should be played on New Game Plus. That's the ideal difficulty for anyone. Anything other than that is whatever, doesn't really matter. New game is just to experience the story. Like, I honestly believe that the new game cycle is the easy mode per se. New Game Plus is where the ideal difficulty is for every Dark Souls game. But that's just me. Yom the Giant now. Yom the Giant was a very interesting boss because I could not think past the usual Dark Souls strategy I was using for every Dark Souls game. Like, I have to keep dodging, I have to keep rolling, I have to attack, I have to be patient, I have to learn the boss, how it moves and stuff like that. And I tried it. I didn't die. I don't think I died at any point in Europe, but I was using Homeward Bones, just get the fuck out of here, when I was getting really low. I could not get it. Like, it was so much health, like I was doing so little damage. Like, there has to be a way. And we had a few tries. After that, I was pointed out by members of the stream. You should, the boots were really amazing, by the way, because they never told me anything. Like, they respected that I wanted to go blind per se. So they say, okay, I'm not going to tell you anything, just go for it, see how it goes, you know? And they told me, you should check out your equipment, you should check out what you've got, like, think what you got. The answer is there if you want to just kill it. And not go the fucking extra mile and just spend hours on that freaking giant. So I went and did that. I found out that I can use abilities. I was never using abilities in the game. That was the pitfall for me, especially on Yom the Giant. So when I figured out I could use abilities, and when I could read the specific weapon that you get from Yom the Giant room, it's basically so that if you use it correctly, if you use the ability, it's done. It's done. It literally takes 2 or 3 hits, and Yom the Giant is down. So yeah, really interesting boss. I loved it. Aldred's Devourer of the Souls. Now that was an interesting boss as well. It was really fast forward, like you had to keep going and forward, and you have to keep dodging. I believe it took me like 5 or 6 tries to actually kill the boss, but I got it, no problem. It was really interesting how you were supposed to start dodging and then focus on blocking and then focus on line of sight and use the pillars to your advantage. I really love that boss. Overall, a really good fight. Dancer of the Boreal Valley now, like I said, it's a really fun favorite. I get the appeal. I don't know the lore. Maybe there is something about the lore that people love about the Dancer. I loved how elegant the fight was. The fight was more about elegance and a dance, hence the name, I guess, than actual fight. However, Dancer, I believe, is not an overall difficult boss. Like, it took me a couple of tries to get to know the mechanics, like how the boss moves, and that was it. Now, one of my favorite bosses in the game so far was the Dragon Slayer armor. It was one of the bosses that I first found my first roadblock. Keep in mind, I was pretty much under leveled because I was not farming at any point. I was not going for any of that. I was just going through the game as fast as possible for the stream to actually continue, you know? And Dragon Slayer armor was my first roadblock. It was really fun also because it was one of the streams that I had that so people got involved in that fight. There was so many people that we were having fun with, so I was focusing more on the chat than on the fight itself, to be fair. But it was really fun. After a couple of tries, I think it took us about 15 to 16 tries, something like that, we killed the boss. Once we figured out a tactic to do it, like that was the thing. Like, it was not like the best attempt to do it, the best way to actually do it, but it was something we came up with, and it worked, and we were happy with it. Osiris, the Consumed King now. Another interesting boss. It was a face roll, to be fair. Like, I don't believe, I only believe it killed me once or maybe twice because I was not being careful. That was it. Other than that, if I could just focus on what the hell was happening, nothing to write home about so far. Now, Champion Grundir. Oh my god, what an amazing boss. This has to be my favorite fight in all of Dark Souls 3. I loved it so much. It had everything I wanted from Dark Souls boss, like everything. It was fast, you have to be on your toes constantly, it had keep changing the moveset depending on what you were doing at the time, like they were doing roundhouse kicks, like they were doing so many different things. I believe it's the boss that gave me the most deaths, the second most actually. But I had so much fun with that boss, and the relief and the cry when I actually killed it was fucking amazing.
We've fucking done it! We've fucking done it, finally!
Lothric Younger Prince now. It was the boss I died the most likely. I will have to check that, but I believe it's the boss I died the most. It was an interesting boss. I liked it a lot. It's probably my third favorite boss of all Dark Souls so far, at least. But I did not enjoy it as much as I should have. I believe the reason is it was just annoying at times. Like phase 2 was especially annoying. Once you get the hang of it and you get the feel of it, of what you were supposed to be doing, it was done. You had nothing to worry about. But yeah, it was just a great fight, but something that kind of took me the wrong way. Finally, the Soul of Cinder, the final boss of Dark Souls 3. I believe I died a lot of times on that boss as well. I don't believe I died the most. Maybe it's the second time that the second most deaths by the boss, basically. But it was really fun fight. Like I had 3 strategies going on in this fight. Like we went one, we see the fight. Okay, we're gonna be changing the tactics now. Then we change the tactic again, and we change the tactic a third time, which basically consisted of me just relying on dodging and be completely naked and have everything that could increase my power, because I believe I was way under leveled for that. Keep in mind, I am not a Dark Souls veteran. I'm not a player that, oh, I'm gonna go level 1, I'm gonna face roll all the bosses. I'm not that kind of player. I don't care to be that kind of streamer or player, whatever. That's fine. People that can do it, bravo, kudos to you. I'm more of an average player that I enjoy progression as it goes on, and I need the extra power. I need those extra 10 hit points, whatever the fucking one you call them. And yeah, it was really fun because I relied on something completely different than other times. I did not rely on blocking at all. I only dodged. Like I was two-handed with Witch's Knife, my favorite weapon of this game so far. And it was a really fun fight. I dedicated a whole stream, which was about 2 hours, just to learn the fight, just to kill the boss, like get the feel of it. And it was really funny because I took a small break because I was sick, and we did solve the cinders on the day, like today, on the day of this recording, and we just kill the boss really easily this time, because after a couple deaths we had, just to get the feel of the fight again, because again it was like 5 or 6 days before we actually done the boss. After that, pretty easily we killed it. It was really fun. There was some really good banger moments on those fights as well. I will clip for the December video the best moments. That's about it. Now, the thing I want to talk about the most right now, because the video is starting to get a bit long now, is the soundtrack. Soundtrack is very important to me in the game. Like the ambient sound, the soundtrack, the battle music. It's safe to say that Dark Souls 3 has the most amazing battle music you will ever hear. Like, oh my god, so much epicness. Like, I loved it. Every single area was interesting, was different, and I fucking enjoyed every last second of it. It was amazing. Now, obviously Dark Souls 3 is a very popular game, right? Like, I can't say that it's a bad game or how I would rank it. This is not the point of this kind of video. This is just me talking about my experiences through Dark Souls 3. Would I rate Dark Souls 3 the best Dark Souls game or Souls game from Software? It's a tough one. It's a tough one. If we go just purely, I haven't played Elden Ring yet, to be fair. However, if we go just basically on the bosses themselves and how they work and how much fun they were, I would say yeah, Dark Souls 3 was the best game of all Souls series. I loved it. I believe thematically, for me, Bloodborne is the best game, but that's just my own personal experience. That was it. That was a very fun first stream game that I decided to do. It was really fun. I'm glad I did it on stream. I'm glad I had people joining in, having fun. We did PvP with the audience. It was really fun for me. And yeah, that was it for me. Anyway, when I rate Dark Souls, thumbs up. 2 thumbs up.